Hey everyone, I think we'll go ahead and get started now. So thank you for attending our pre-arrival orientation webinar for the spring 2019 semester. We're excited to have you on campus with us here, and so we just want to go over some of the logistical information and some information that we think is going to be important for you as you prepare your arrival to K-State in January. My name is Logan Gabi. I am an K-State alumnus. I graduated in May of 2013, and I am our international admissions representative here.
Hi everyone, my name is Amy Hall. I am an international admissions specialist here at K-State, and I will be helping to answer some of the immigration questions today.
And I'm Anna Eves. I'm the communications coordinator, and I will be running the Q&A part of this webinar.
All right, so the order of events, we'll just go over a little bit of logistical information for the webinar, how to use the Q&A feature, that kind of stuff, immigration information from Amy, and then I'll go over campus life, like what it's like to be on campus, orientation enrollment, what to expect during your first week, and then how to make that cultural adjustment to the U.S. once you do arrive on campus. So overall, we're thinking it'll be about 45 to 50 minutes, and there'll be definitely time at the end that we'll answer your questions as well. So for webinar information, so we recommend that you join from a computer or tablet or a phone app. It just tends to be better so you can see the slides that we have going. But if you don't, that's okay. You can also call in to join. There are those numbers in the email that was sent as well. We are recording the webinar, so we'll have it available for you after as well. And you can submit questions to us at any time. So we'll ask that you submit them through the Q&A feature. And so you can see, the Q&A feature, there was a slide that showed that, but there's a question and answer feature on there. Just submit your questions to us and we'll make sure we get them answered throughout the section. We may not answer it right away, but we will get to it before it's done. So don't worry if we don't answer your question right away. It might be coming up in the next section or something like that. So we'll make sure we get everything answered and we'll stick around afterward to make sure all your questions are answered as well.
Okay, so the first topic we are going to discuss today is some basics of immigration. I think you all probably now have received your admission documents, and what we first want to talk about is what do you do now? The very first thing you need to do is check your documents for errors. Review your I-20 or your DS-2019, which would correspond to your visa status, but you would review those documents and your admission letter for correct information. If you see a mistake, if something like your name is spelled incorrectly, your birth date is wrong, you need to notify us of that as soon as possible. You can simply email us at inteladmit@ksu.edu, and we can get those corrections made as quickly as possible. Also, you need to make sure that you sign and date your I-20 or your DS-2019. Both of those documents will have a space for your signature towards the bottom.
And one housekeeping thing, we will reference I-20 and DS-2019. So you'll have one or the other. You won't have both of them. So an I-20 document is for an F1 visa, and a DS-2019 is for a J1 visa. And we'll cover what an I-20 looks like because that's what most of you have. But just know that the information we're giving for the I-20 will be reflected on the DS-2019 as well if that's the document you have.
Great. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about are the differences between a visa and an I-20. So on the right of your screen, you'll see an image of an I-20. And we discuss different parts of the I-20 so that you can see, the funding amounts, where your name is, where your birth date is, the issue reason, all of that. A visa is different. These are only issued outside of the U.S., and it is actually what allows you to enter the U.S. legally. The visa, however, does not allow you to stay in the U.S. That is what the valid I-20 or DS-2019 does. That tells you how long you can be in the U.S., how long your program is, but the visa is explicitly different and is all about entry. Before you schedule your visa interview, we definitely recommend that you check the wait time at your nearest consulate or embassy. These vary greatly and can be anywhere from 2 days to 40 days. So it's very, very important that you look at this information before scheduling your interview to get an idea of how long you will need to wait. You can check these times at the website given at the bottom of this slide. Okay, again, before scheduling your visa interview, there are some things that you absolutely want to make sure that you complete. The first of which is paying your SEVIS I-901 fee. This fee is mandatory for all non-immigrant students. This fee must be paid at least 3 business days before your scheduled visa appointment. You can pay this fee at the website given on the slide, which is www.fmjfee.com. If you can also apply for your DS-160 non-immigrant visa, and this site is also given here. When you do pay either of these fees, depending on your type of documentation, you will need to make sure that you keep the confirmation page that shows that you have paid the fee. That will be very important to bring with you to your interview. Okay, so when you go to schedule your visa interview, you will do this at your nearest U.S. consulate or embassy. You can find those at usembassy.gov. You will want to make sure that you take the following items with you to your interview: your I-20 or DS-2019, your confirmation pages of the paid fees, the SEVIS I-901 fee and the DS-160 fee, and also make sure to bring your K-State admission letter. During the actual visa interview, you will notice that each different consulate or embassy has their own procedure. We can't know exactly what every procedure is, as each consulate can do it differently. You will definitely want to make sure that you check with your local consulate or embassy prior to your interview so that you know what they are expecting of you. In general, there would be these 4 different parts. They're going to take your picture, collect some biometric data like your fingerprints. They will have an interview with a consular officer. And then you will also need to make sure that you establish a non-immigrant intent. This is very important and does hang up a lot of students, so you'll want to focus on how your ties to your home country are relevant. And then also you will need to give them your passport.
Also for the passport delivery, they'll let you know how you will collect your passport with your visa if it's approved in it. So some consulates or embassies may mail it to you. Some may require that you come back to the consulate or embassy and pick it up in person at a set time, or it may be a certain number of days after. So it'll be dependent on your particular consulate or embassy, and that's why it's important to review the procedures for your particular consulate or embassy. And one thing that I've learned as I've traveled around and spoken with consular officers around the world is the interview. The biggest thing to recommend is to be prepared for it. The typical time for a visa interview is 3 to 5 minutes. So just make sure that you're very prepared, that you bring all the documents with you. Don't pass them the documents until they ask for them, but absolutely have all the documents ready. So have your I-20 ready, have your K-State admission letter ready, have your proof of finances ready. All that kind of stuff, just have it there ready for them. Don't be nervous and just be prepared that it will be a pretty quick interview, but that's why you need to be prepared and have all that stuff with you.
Okay, so now we're going to go over the different things the student must have in order to be issued the F-1 visa. The first is a properly issued I-20 from SEVIS by a school designated official. We will provide that I-20 to you in your acceptance package. Your passport, you do absolutely have to have a passport, and it will need to be valid for at least 6 months in the future. We do recommend that if your passport is getting ready to expire or will expire, say, in your first year of study in the U.S., if you can go ahead and make arrangements to get your passport renewed. It is easier to do in your home country usually than here in the United States. The other thing you must do, and we spoke about this a little bit earlier, is prove your intention to stay in the United States as a temporary and solely for the purpose of pursuing a full course of study. This can be tricky for a lot of students, and the research we've done and the officers that we've spoken to do absolutely indicate that this is a struggle for a lot of people. You need to have a proof of residence outside of the U.S. to which you intend to return to after completing your temporary period of study. So this is all about just making sure that you're planning to come home, you're planning to pursue a future back in your home country, and that you've got strong family ties there, and that your intention in coming to the United States is just to study for a temporary amount of time, and then you're going to go back home. Next, they will expect a financial ability to cover the cost of education and living expenses in the U.S. This is why we require the bank documents whenever you are applying for your I-20 or DS 2019, so they will absolutely want to review those. And then again, proof that you have paid the SEVIS fee prior to scheduling your visa appointment. Okay, this is a sample visa, so this is what you can expect your U.S. visa to look like, issued in your passport book. You can see we've outlined the different item information here on the screen. I'm not going to go over all of them. It is a good idea to review this information for clarity and to make sure that everything is correct. It'll have your name, your birth date, your passport number. It'll also have an issue date. It will talk about, how your different entries, how many times you can enter. So review all of this information once you do get your visa. And if you have any questions about it, you can speak with your consular officer or embassy. Okay, so after you've completed your interview, the next thing you need to begin thinking about is your move to the U.S. The official arrival date for the spring 2019 semester is January 11th. Now, this is the absolute last date that you should plan to arrive on. So when making your travel arrangements, plan to arrive possibly prior to this date instead of on this date. With that, you are allowed to arrive in the U.S. up to 30 days before the official arrival date stated on your I-20 or DS 2019. So there's no reason that you should be late. You've got almost 4 weeks prior to your arrival date that you can enter the country without any issue. However, do not try to arrive before that 30-day window. You will not be allowed to arrive, and it can make things very complicated once you do get here. So you can arrive up to 30 days early, but no earlier. Okay, so a couple things about what to pack in your carry-on bag when you do take your flight. It is a really good idea to bring your important immigration documents with you in your carry-on so that you're not having to, so that you can easily access those at any time. This would include your I-20 or your DS 2019, your admission letter, your SEVIS fee receipt, and your passport, which would at this time include your visa. And again, we want a passport that's valid at least 6 months in front of the arrival date. Okay, this last piece, I don't want you to get too stressed about. This is just something for you to know once you do arrive in the U.S. The form is called an I-94. This actually records all of your U.S. arrivals and departures. So until you actually make your first arrival in the U.S., you will not have an I-94. This will also show what type of visa that you have, and it shows that you entered the U.S. Legally. There are many different times during your stay in the United States that you might get asked for this form, and you can actually access it and print it at any time. It's the website for access is listed here. Again, I don't want you to try to worry about it until you've actually arrived in the U.S. We have advisors who will help you once you arrive here, access it and print it out. Once they do help you with that piece, you can always keep a copy of your I-94 with your passport. It's just another good immigration document to carry around. But one last reminder, please don't stress about this right now. It's not something that you will need to worry about until you actually arrive in the US.
So I'll start the campus life section. So probably the most important thing right now is to make sure that you have your housing arranged on campus, or housing arranged for your time at K-State. It's not required to stay on campus at K-State, but it is guaranteed for all of our students. So if you want a place to stay on campus, we will absolutely find you a place. So you should complete your housing contract as soon as possible to make sure that you're able to reserve your room type that you prefer. As you can see over here, there are a number of different room types available on campus. The housing website listed there, www.housing.ksu.edu, has a really cool feature on there that you can go in and explore all the different types of housing we have available on campus, what those costs are, as well as what the room situations are, and you can also even see if there are other students that have been assigned to that room as well. So it's a really cool feature for you to plan your housing at K-State. In addition to housing at K-State, there are meal plans. So we have 2 meal plans generally. We have an all-access meal plan and an NE14 meal plan. We recommend the all-access. You kind of get the most bang for your buck with that one, but you can choose the NE14 if you know that you're not a person that likes to wake up and eat breakfast in the mornings, but you want to start your day. You want to make sure you have lunch and dinner accounted for. So you can adjust that as you go throughout the semester as well. K-State Housing will help you work out your meal plans as well. So your travel to campus, so we recommend flying into the Manhattan Regional Airport. Airport code is MHK. It's about 8 miles or 12.5 kilometers from the K-State campus, and we do provide a free airport shuttle from the Manhattan Regional Airport the week prior to orientation. So if you arrive between Monday, January 7th and Friday, January 11th to the Manhattan Regional Airport, then we'll be there for every flight coming in. You'll see someone standing there with a sign that looks similar to this one here, and welcoming you to campus, and we'll get you in a shuttle, we'll get you taken to your on-campus housing and everything from there. If you arrive outside of that time, or if you're choosing to live off campus and are going to a location off of campus, Uber, taxi services, and buses are also available. Just make sure, and the Manhattan Airport does have free Wi-Fi, so you can connect to that and you can order your Uber or your Lyft from there as well.
We should let you know, the shuttle is something you need to sign up for. We will send you an email with a link telling you how to sign up for the shuttle. So please pay attention to all of your pre-arrival information emails that are sent to you coming soon.
Another option to travel to campus is from the Kansas City International Airport. MCI is that airport code. It's about 215 kilometers from the K-State campus, and you can see we have 4 options listed there of how to get from the Kansas City Airport to the Manhattan campus. So you can see it's about a 2 hour and 10-minute drive to get to K-State from there. The shuttle does not run, or the free K-State shuttle does not run from this airport, but if you do choose to go that way, there are these 4 shuttle options listed here.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what you can expect for your first week at K-State. One of the very first things that you will be required to do is check in with on-campus housing. Again, if you're planning to live on campus, they will help you get settled into your room, and you can have your luggage unloaded. The second thing, and this is something that absolutely everyone will need to do regardless of your visa status or your housing arrangement, is to complete the immigration check-in with K-State International Student and Scholar Services. There will be a variety of check-in dates and times available, both through arrival week and at the early part of orientation week. But this is something that is very, very important. You will get more instructions about the rest of your orientation week at this time as well. And there will be lots of fun and enjoyable activities available for you in your first week or so at K-State. Okay, so there is a required orientation that all international students are expected to attend. One of the things that we'll absolutely cover during orientation is an introduction to all of the services that are offered to K-State students. This is a great opportunity to not only learn about clubs and organizations at K-State, but it's also a great way to meet other international students who this is also their first term. During orientation week, you will also be taking the English proficiency exam if you have not already submitted passing scores to waive that requirement. And finally, you will register for your semester classes.
So proving English proficiency. So like Amy mentioned, we do have our English proficiency exam available on campus. You can take that English proficiency test during orientation week. Or if you've recently taken a test like a TOEFL or an IELTS or an SAT or an ACT, we can definitely accept those scores as well. So you can see examples here of those scores listed. So if you've taken that and you haven't sent us that score, go ahead and do so, and we can go ahead and waive your English proficiency requirement if it meets our minimum requirements, or we can go ahead and give you your placement into the English level classes you'll be taking during your first semester at K-State. If you're planning on taking an SAT, an ACT, or a TOEFL in the near future between now and your arrival, we do have our reporting codes down there at the bottom. So if you take an SAT or a TOEFL or any college board exams, you can submit 6334, and that will automatically send your score to K-State for free. And if you take the ACT, you can put in 1428 when you're registering for the exam. And again, that will automatically send your score to K-State for free as well. Or you can also bring them with you when you arrive on campus, and we can work with you on the English proficiency portion. So it's not a requirement to prove English proficiency before you arrive, but we do need to see English proficiency before you enroll in your academic classes toward the end of your orientation week. So following that, once you've proven English proficiency or once you've been placed into an English course, then you'll actually do your course registration. So you'll meet with your academic advisor and set up your academic plan within your department or within the English language program. So during that time, you'll begin setting up your 4-year academic plan, whether that constitutes English language courses first or going directly into your academic programs from there. So they'll help you kind of plan out the next 4 years of your undergraduate career at K-State, and you can start to plan out and see what your course schedule will look like during that time. So then you'll actually register for your classes at the end of that advising session with that advisor. So you'll sit there, and at the end of that session, it'll take about 30 minutes or so. You'll have your course schedule in hand, and you'll be able to start walking around campus and finding out where your classes are. So we also offer the opportunity to get involved on campus. So one of the huge benefits, I think, of the U.S. education system is that not only do we have really strong academics, we also offer a lot of opportunities for you to get some extracurricular experience and kind of build out your resume outside of the classroom as well. So we have organizations like International Buddies where you can practice your English skills with an American, and there's a couple of weekend trips you can take with them within the region as well. So it's a really good opportunity for you to kind of get immersed into that American culture. You can also take the opportunity to teach others about your own culture. We have a coffee hour series where we highlight 6 different countries each semester from around the world. It gives the opportunity to talk about the geography, where your country is located, your home culture, and most importantly, about the food in your culture. That's always a really fun portion of the coffee hour series, is the students actually get to cook some food and share it with the guests that are in attendance. You can also get leadership experience by joining our student government board, joining any of our student organizations. They have leadership opportunities like president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, all that sort of stuff within those. So again, building out your resume and making you a very well-rounded candidate as you're applying for jobs once you graduate. Your student visa does also grant you the right to work on campus. So you can work up to 20 hours per week on campus. And during your orientation session, we'll have someone from the Career Center be able to talk to you about what that looks like, how you can find on-campus jobs, and what the process for applying for those jobs looks like. Staying active, we also have a very robust set of intramural sports teams, as well as one of the top-ranked rec programs in rec centers in the United States. And it's all at no additional cost to you. So the fees for that are included in your tuition. So all you have to do is take out your student ID, swipe it, and there's everything at your disposal. So we have racquetball, tennis, badminton, volleyball, basketball, indoor soccer field, as well as outdoor soccer fields, all sorts of stuff. We also have a number of other clubs and organizations. These are just a few. So we have about 483 clubs and organizations on campus right now. So if there's anything you want to do, we can pretty much guarantee that you'll be able to find an opportunity here at K-State for that.
We have a question here from a student. They are asking, since they are already in the U.S., when can they check in?
So housing check-in will start 2 weeks before the start of class. So you can come into housing. It is a $45 per day fee to check into your on-campus housing. So you can check into housing as early as January 7th. That's the first day of what we call Arrivals Week. And then the following week is Orientation Week. And then the week after that is the first week of classes. So you can arrive on campus as early as January 7th and check into your on-campus housing. As far as doing immigration check-in, I'll let Amy take that one.
Yes, ISSS, which is our International Student and Scholar Services Office, does offer a variety of check-ins. They will actually have a check-in in December. I don't have that date with me, but I can give you the email address of whom to contact. So it is isss@ksu.edu. And they will have a check-in as early as probably December 20th, 15th, somewhere in the middle of the month.
The first day, I just looked it up. The first day that you can check in December is Wednesday, December 19th at 10 a.m. The next time that you can check in is January 2nd at 10 a.m. So either of those dates would be fine for you to check in. And all this check-in information can be found on our website. There's a page for admitted students, and under that admitted students page is some check-in and orientation information. So that's all there.
And if you have any questions, we'll have Anna chat that website or that email address out to you, just so you have it there if you have any specific questions that we aren't able to answer right now. And also one last thing, if you are already in the U.S., one thing to remember is that if you're currently studying on an F or a J visa, you will have to transfer your CVIS record to K-State. So once you finish your studies, just make sure you work with your current international student advisor at your school, and they can transfer that record here to K-State. And again, there's more information available on that online, as well as you can ask those questions at that ISSS@k-state.edu email address.
Okay, so now I'm going to shift to a different topic, and we're going to talk a little bit about cultural adjustment. We know it's challenging, but and exciting, but you're going to have a major process adjusting to your new home here at Kansas State University. We've got some guidelines for you here. It's an exciting process, but it can also be difficult. And these are some tips that we think really, really help students in this adjustment. One of the main things that you can do is establish a new support system. This can be new friends. This can even be just making sure you talk to family members regularly abroad. But we really want to make sure that you have a community here that you can rely on when things get difficult. This is why it is really important when you do go to orientation and get the opportunity to meet other international students that you really take advantage of building those relationships. Another important tip, make sure to take care of yourself physically and mentally. This can be something as simple as making sure you're getting a good amount of sleep, remaining active. Try to keep your body on its normal schedule so that you can be under as little stress as possible. Try to be open-minded and flexible. You're going to have to adapt to a lot of new things, and you're going to have a lot of new ideas and a lot of new ways of living presented to you during your time abroad. So try to be open-minded and consider all the new possibilities that you're presented with. Make sure that you express your feelings. If you are feeling depressed or down, we have a lot of great resources here on campus that are designed specifically for student support. So if you're struggling, if you're, having some major feelings of homesickness, we want everyone to kind of prepare for that because it is normal. Let people know, tell your advisors, tell your professors, talk to your friends about it, talk to your family about it, stay in communication with people. Also, it's really, really good to develop a routine. You're going to have your class schedule, which will help significantly, but try to get up at the same time every morning, try to go to bed at a good time. Make sure you work out regularly, that you're eating 3 meals a day. This can all really help your body stay on a good path. Also, we found that a lot of students benefit from just keeping a journal, writing down how their experience is, the changes that they're going through, the struggles that they encounter, and the successes that they have. Everyone's cultural adjustment is a little bit different, and there is no one-size-fits-all model, but this is a common model that a lot of people use to illustrate the challenges that people go through. We do know that most of the time when international students arrive, it's a really exciting change. There's a lot of new things to experience. There's a lot of stuff going on, and this is really exciting. Usually, the first few days, the first couple weeks are pretty easy to get through because you've got so much new and exciting things going on. However, after that phase comes to an end and, the first month or so of classes is underway, you're going to be confronted with a lot of, maybe challenging feelings of frustration or being overwhelmed. So it's okay. Everybody will go through that to some extent. Try to just be prepared for it. And, when that first feeling of homesickness kind of arrives, know that you're aware of it and that you're going to push through it and get on. After you kind of will hit that initial challenge, you will go through a period of adjustment where you're learning to navigate your new home in a daily basis. Maybe it's no longer exciting and new, but you're learning, you've figured out how to make this your new regular routine. And then finally, we hope that everyone gets to a form where they've adapted to their new culture, to their new area, and that they feel like they can be themselves, but they've also explored new aspects of their environment and their personality, and they're really thriving here on campus. This model obviously is not fitted for everyone. It's no one person is going to go through this the same way as someone else, so it's okay. We are here to help. We've got all sorts of great supports on campus, from counseling services to the student clubs and organizations that Logan talked about. There's a lot of really, really good ways to get involved and take care of yourself. And just know that everyone here wants you to be a successful student, a happy, well-rounded individual. So we're all here rooting for you, and we'll do everything that we can to help make that happen.
And one thing I want to reiterate from what Amy said is everyone goes through this. So it's not like that you're just having a tough time adjusting or anything like that. I travel all the time going out to meet students like you to come to K-State and whatnot. And I go through this every single time I come home, every time I'm in a new place. So it's not just that. So just know that it's completely normal. And that's why those campus resources are available to you. So don't feel as if like, oh no, like I'm just adjusting to this poorly. Know that everyone goes through it, even people who travel very frequently and who are kind of like always on the road. So it's definitely completely normal for that to happen. So this brings us to the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, we are absolutely more than happy to answer them right now. If you think of something over the next few days or months as you're preparing for your travel to K-State, don't hesitate to email us at international@ksu.edu. You can always give us a call. That's our phone number there. I'm also available on WhatsApp if that's easier. If you just want to send a quick text message or something like that, we can get your questions answered. So with that, I think we all want to thank you for attending. And if you have any questions right now, we're more than happy. We'll stay on for the next like 5 or 10 minutes to make sure we answer all your questions, or as long as it takes if you have some questions that are still coming in.